All right, everyone, we're going to do this again here. Let me get out and start back up, and we'll just have to start over again. So, where are we here? Let's go to Dave. And if you're watching, that sucks. Hopefully it'll work now. Let's see what happens here. My apologies. This sucks. Let's try this again here. It says it's working, but I don't think that's working there. Okay, I think we are working here. Make sure we get on here and let's do a few more things, do a little sharing, and I think we'll be in good shape here. So let's go ahead and bring it back up, and I think we'll get it now. Looks like we're on. Just give it a minute here, and we'll get it right. Yeah, we're back on. Okay, we're back on. This time it's working, so we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, we're back on now. Okay, I see and hear you. Okay, good. All right. I got to do a little cleanup here. Just bear with me a second here. Let me go to a couple places and do a little sharing, and I think we'll be all right here. So, yeah, I think we got it. And I apologize. Technology is wonderful until it doesn't work, and then it's not so good. So, all right, let me just do a couple things here, and I got to do sharing and stuff like that. Little cleanup work I do before to share to the groups that I broadcast to. So I got to do that all over again. Yeah, it really sucks when this happens. Oh, sometimes excuse me. Sometimes you take the shortcut, and I should know better. Why do I do that? It's not fun. But let me a little bit more here, and we'll have it all ready to go. And I apologize to those people in the groups. They have to approve me a couple times, but that's just how it works sometimes. Never do what I just did. I will never do that again. Every day you kind of redo it, and I thought, oh no, it says it's already there, and it wasn't. So, okay, I'm okay now. Yeah, I am. Start over. No, Wendy. She walked away. You have to go open up the browser again, and then you'll see it. Okay. Yeah, people see it now. All right, good morning, everyone. Sorry about the delay. Hey, what else is new? It happens every once in a while. So, all righty. Yesterday, the electors, excuse me, the electors showed up, and the electors supposedly did their job. And as you know, what people don't know about this, and this is what's important to know, it is very important to know, that in some states, there were two sets of electors. And the reason is because there is a court case there. Now, you've got to understand, this is all procedural stuff. And look, I'm with a lot of you guys. I'm learning as this goes on. But what's going on is, like in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Michigan, because there are court cases there. Oh, not Michigan so much. Michigan, they actually barred the electors at the door. Michigan is just, some of these places are out of control. They really are. But let's just get back to what the basics are, then we'll get the rest figured out later. So in these states, they actually have two sets of electors because they don't know. There's court cases out there. See, this is what everybody is forgetting. They think, well, it's all going to be okay, that Biden is the president, get it over, the election. No, it's not until January 6th when they count the electors. It's official on January 6th. So by January 6th, I mean, you know, it's been dragged out for quite a while here, obviously, but by January 6th, we will have all the answers. And right now, there is so much evidence against the criminals and the Dominion voting systems and all the rest of it that I am, you know, honestly, I understand where people get frustrated. I totally get that. But I'm letting you know right now, don't get too frustrated. Don't let the left do this. You know, yesterday, I got to tell you something. I did something yesterday I don't like doing. And as I actually was watching NBC News for a little bit, and I did it because I wanted to see how they were reacting to the vaccine. The vaccine was the big news. And the only reason that vaccine is there is because you had a man who owns a business, who knows how to get things rocking and rolling and get it done. And whether you like it or not, the people said, we want a vaccine. And he did everything he could to make sure they got it in record time. Because anybody that thinks that at any other time that government would have things done this quickly, you are out of your mind. You'd be forced to be wearing mask for years. That's what they want. But President Trump did everything he could to make sure that these laboratories, everybody did their thing, and they got it out in record time. Not one word about Trump yesterday in that broadcast. It was all about, nothing. They gave him no credit whatsoever. It was really quite sickening to watch this, to watch the media. You would have thought it came out of thin air. They didn't even mention the companies. They just said the vaccine is here, that's it, and people can't wait to get it. Can you imagine if this was Obama? What the media's reaction was Obama. Not if it was Obama, because if it was Obama, they'd still be talking about it. There was no way in God's green earth this would even have come to fruition with any other president. And I mean any other president. But Trump went into overdrive and made sure it was done. So, can you imagine if this was Obama? They can't even give it to Biden. You know, it's kind of funny because Biden's like, on my first 100 days, I'm going to have 100 million doses given out. You know, Joe, that's probably going to happen before you are even if you were president. And the media is doing nothing to give President Trump 1 ounce of credit for what happened. Now, I know a lot of you people are like me. I have no desire for a vaccine. But that's our choice, okay? But, you know, we're supposed to be about choice. You know, I keep hearing these people say, well, if Trump has something to do with it, if the government has something to do with it, you're going to have to, it's going to be mandatory. It's not mandatory. That is not who Donald Trump is. You know, so get over that crap. That's not who Trump is. And I'm watching all these Democrats stand in line. They should be on their knees since they wanted the vaccine. They should be on their knees saying, thank you, President Trump. No, not one word. And that just goes to show you how people have their heads in the sand. They have no idea how things happen. I for one, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, okay, they got to say Trump Trump really worked hard. You know, that was a dumb thing to really want. I was hoping they'd say it, but I knew better. I knew better because they don't want to give Trump credit for anything. And you're right, Sherry. They just, it came out of thin air. And you know what the problem is with it? Is that if it was, okay, this is how it would have worked before. Government would have been the ones trying to come out with it. Yeah, they'd be called the Obama vaccine. You're right. Exactly right. But government would have been the ones coming up with this. Well, we don't trust any company to do this. Look, I'm not a pharmaceutical company fan at all. but they are a necessity. And they have to be held in check. We know what's going on with them. But bottom line is the Trump administration oversaw that whole thing, and in record time, we got a vaccine. And so I guess, are they going to call it the Biden vaccine? You know, funny. I'm telling you what, folks, I don't even know where I live anymore. I really don't know where I live because I'm watching a media who I think is probably the most disgusting ever in my lifetime. I'm watching a media controlling our world. And I have to tell you, I know some people don't like this, but this is how I feel. If you don't need a mask on and you're walking around with it, you are part of the control process. And I know my friend Jim doesn't agree with that, but that's just the way it goes. That's how I feel. Because it doesn't help. There's absolutely no evidence whatsoever saying a mask helps. None. And we still are walking around with a mask on. When we allow government to run the show, we have become socialist. I thought we were a capitalist country. How did Obamacare work out for me? Well, let me see. Before Obamacare, I'm not married anymore, but I was married at the time, and we had insurance, and we were paying about $320 a month for 3 people. I had a daughter at home, and Obamacare came through, and our premiums went up to $850 a month or something like that. Now, if you remember correctly, according to what Obama said, of course, he's never taken a task by the media. The liberals never are. Obama said, you can keep your plan if you like it. My plan was great. I had my knee replaced. It was great. Didn't cost me. Didn't have huge deductibles. Fast forward, like I said, $850 plus a month, and the deductibles were like $10,000. It was unbelievable. And it was like one person, and this happens in a lot of households, one person had to work to pay for the health insurance, and the other person worked to pay for the food on the table. Yes. I had a little problem, Linda, this morning. Story of my life. So here we go. We got all this stuff going on with Obamacare, and the media virtually says nothing. Oh, my God, these people here, they're getting in it, and they don't have to worry about it. You know, and if you notice, they kept trying. This is what gets me. The Democrats kept saying that Trump wants to take away pre-existing conditions. And even a lot of Republicans said, well, we should do that. I think it all depends on what's going on. It's like part of it was, I think, what was going on back then is we said, well, with pre-existing conditions, it's like saying that, all right, I had a car accident. Now I want to get Obamacare, or now I want to get my insurance, car insurance. It's not quite like that, but that's what people are saying. But President Trump has never, ever said to get rid of pre-existing conditions. But did the media say the president didn't say that? Of course he didn't. This media has been trashing this president before he became president. They have every day. And by the way, I just saw, he's still working. I'm telling you what, that man doesn't look like he's one bit freaked out by any of this stuff, if you notice. He signed an executive order, and Jim, you'll like this. He signed an executive order to get rid of a lot of stupid occupational restrictions. Did you know that you need a license? I knew the one on the hair. I'll get to that in a second. But you need a license to give ballet lessons? You need a license to give ballet lessons? Are you kidding me? That is what happens when you have government running everything. I can't believe that. It just blows me away. It really does. Oh, I've got to do something here. It blows me away. I really and truly don't understand how anybody can just think that you need a license. I told the story, and I'll tell it again. Actually, I think it happened in Missouri too. Jim can correct me on this. But there was a woman who came from another country, and she liked to do what is it with hair? I can't think of what she's someone with hair, but basically, braiding hair. That's what it was. She braided hair, and she called up the licensing. I think it was Florida then, and I think it may have happened in Missouri too. She called up the licensing and made sure she didn't need a license. Well, this is how this stuff works. Just so you know. The people said, no, you don't need a license to braid hair. Well, when it came to be, all of a sudden they contacted her and said, you need a license. You have to stop what you're doing. You have to go through cosmetology, college, beauty college, to get a license. And by the way, there is nothing in the course about braiding hair. Yeah. So here we go. We got a woman who's done this for years and the whole thing. She supposedly has to go through this to get a license to do it, even though it's not even in the class. And that's the kind of crap that goes on. We have licensing for everything. I mean, you name it, we have it for everything. And it's ridiculous. My friend Paul Kurtman was in charge of something to do like that in Jefferson City for Missouri. And it's the same crap. He's like, we got to get rid of this licensing. But, just to let you know how this works, people think, oh, this is for the greater good. What they don't understand, and I'll go to that licensing. Oh, I'm going to talk about that too. They talk about the licensing. The people in charge of those particular divisions in government are beauty college owners. A lot of them are beauty college owners, and they're just making sure that they got business. That's really what they're doing. Yeah, can't do anything without a license permit. That's what it is. And so you can't get rid of it because they're saying, wait a minute, if we do that, we don't get that business. Is that really what we want? I mean, really, this is, why they get away with this? Because we're all so disengaged. And that's the one thing we want to stop. We got to stop this crap where all this stuff is going on and we go, wow, I didn't know that. I want everybody to know this stuff. Now, I got to get to the story that Cully's talking about. Young couple gets on a United Airlines flight. You probably heard this. They got their 2-year-old with them. Now, if you've ever had a 2-year-old, it's hard to keep them in one place as it is unless they're sleeping. That's why they call them the terrible twos. And they brought their 2-year-old, and United Airlines says you have to have a mask on. Well, they're sitting there and the guy's trying to hold his baby's, the 2-year-old did not want to keep the mask on. Isn't that a shock? So the gentleman's trying to hold her mouth against him, and the United Airlines attendant comes up and says, if you can't keep that mask on, you're going to have to leave. Nobody on the plane complained about it. Nobody complained. And there you go. Nobody complained, and they ushered him off. Is this really the kind of world you want to live in? I mean, I find this kind of behavior disgusting, but you know what? Like good little doobies, to be honest with you, if I was on the plane, I would have said, you know what? Can we have a vote here? Is anybody concerned about this baby that can't do it? But we all sit there so compliant, and so many people say, not me. Oh, yes, me. Because when people will go into the stores, well, the door says you got to have a mask. I'm telling you, people, if you're walking into a store and it says you got to have a mask on, try walking in without it first. Just do it. You'd be surprised. 90% of the time, these stores aren't going to say a word. And by the way, yeah, not like a sense for sure. If they do say something, they should be nice. Okay, let's say it's my store, and I know that we got the Nazis running around, because this is why I do feel bad for them. You got the Nazis running around, and we got them all over the place. You need to put your mask on, But they'll go to the management and tell them, that lady over there doesn't have her mask on. I want to knock the crap out of people like that myself, but they have to worry about that. But all the store has to do is say, look, I totally understand where you're coming from. There's people that report us. We'll lose our license. We'll have to close whatever. So would you do it for us? I'm really sorry. You have to. That's what they should be doing. In most cases, they're not doing that. Either they aren't saying anything, or you get the mask Nazis. You gotta put your mask on before you walk in my store. I've heard that at a lot of QTs and stuff like that. I mean, it's really ridiculous. It really is. The panel asked why these folks did not speak up because bullying those. Bullying is okay. I actually was reading something earlier from the HuffPost. Yeah, I go there sometimes, where they were saying that the Trump supporters were bullying. Can you believe this crap? They never report on Black Lives Matter or Antifa, but they were saying, but they were saying that the Trump supporters were bullying these people. No, they weren't. It's a rare occurrence, but that's what media's been doing. And it's not journalism. We have to change the name of media to something else, because when you think of media, you try to think of the words journalist. There's no such thing as journalists in the media hardly, unless you go to One American Network or Newsmax or something like that, or sometimes on Fox. Fox is less and less every day, it seems like. Oh, you're right, Chris. You go to someplace, they scream at you, but for not wearing a mask. Look, I will tell you right now, if a store says we don't want people in without masks, there's reasons why they do it, and I don't agree with it, but I don't have to shop there. See, I don't believe in forcing the business owner to have to do something, because if they don't want my business, they're not getting it. If like I said, if somebody was nice, all they have to do is say, hey, look, I'm really sorry. We have to do this because the mask Nazis are running around or something like that. And I've had that happen. I've had people say, yeah, we got people running around reporting us in case somebody's walking around without a mask. And I just go, that's fine. I'll just shop here when you're done. Because I don't blame them. Because they don't want to lose their license, because they've got government over their heads. It's real easy. Now, I want to kind of grab some people here and say, well, they need to do it anyway. It's not your investment. Don't act like, and I understand, we're all tough, but don't act like the same way as government is. Because it's a lot of times their insurance companies tell them that. There's all kinds of stuff going on. It's really ridiculous. Corporate America is running us. And I have no doubt, and this is the dirty little secret they don't tell you, I have no doubt that corporate America is doing everything they can to eliminate small business. That's what they're doing. Not the supporters, the non-supporters were bullying. Yeah, it's really funny, because what was going on is that the bullies were the other people chastising the electors. They go, you aren't supposed to be here because our guy won. That's what really happened. But of course, you're not going to get the news. You're going to get whatever the agenda they want to push onto you. It's I don't, for me, honestly, it's embarrassing to be an American sometimes these days. It really is. I hate to say that. I mean, I love my country. You know, I got to tell you something. I've had some of the nicest emails lately and messenger responses and all that, and I appreciate that. I think I've gotten a lot of people awake lately, especially with what I'm trying to accomplish here. I mean, that part I really like a lot. So I love getting people awake because we got these elections coming up, and I want to tell you something. There's one of my pet peeves is the easy way out. This is where we all have to stop as conservatives. Well, we'll just vote them out. There is nothing on the ballot that says vote them out. Nothing. Now you're going, what? The only way you can vote them out is to vote somebody else in. That's the only way. You go to the election, if there's no one else on the ballot, you're up a creek. Now, why isn't there anyone else on the ballot? Because we have done a horrendous job of putting our name on the ballot. I guess I'm going to go with some of the things I've heard. And one of them is they're nothing but a bunch of crooks. And first off, I don't agree with that. Are most of them? You better believe it. But the reason most of them are is because very few good people have stepped up to the plate. And the reason the other ones did is because you didn't. The people in my audience right now, I guarantee you there's people there that would do a great job. A great job. Look, I live in Jefferson County, Missouri. We have pathetic Democrats in place with an R next to their name. Yes, exactly right. Municipal filings start today. And by the way, if you're in Jefferson County, I want you, not only do I want you to go there, I want you to come back and tell me that you put your name on the dotted line. But if you go to realrepublicans.net, and we're going to do this with other counties, if you have elections in your area, another county, which a lot of you do, send me the info. We'll put it on the website. We will do that. We'll put it on the website, and you'll find out that we can make a big difference because we need you to get there and put your name on the dotted line. And after you do, I have to tell you something. You will find a lot of these people, after they get on, they go, you know what? This is really nice. I like this because I feel like I have a voice. You know when you don't have a voice? When the only thing you do is play on Facebook. And if you think, I get grief from people. I really don't care. But I get grief from people when I chastise them and say, if the only thing you think is going to work is by going on Facebook and saying, oh, I posted this and I posted that, I'm telling everybody else. Well, while you're telling everybody else, I'm going to play the criminal politician. I want to do this right now. Look at these dumbasses. They're over there going back and forth. Nobody's on the ballot. Here we go again, George. Or Dan. Let's use Dan. No, Dan's the one talking here. Here we go again. We got a couple of our guys on the ballot. Either way, we got them. Because these dumbasses are going back and forth, and they think they're really doing something. In the meantime, we own this. That's what they're thinking about you. If you think, you got to understand this one. If you think that Democrats think bad about you, the establishment Republicans are the same. Don't ever think they're not. They're on the sidelines going, who gives a crap what they think? Because they won't get on. They're too chicken, and we're going to win this. We're still going to get this. That's what's going to happen. And I guarantee you that's how it works. Guarantee you. So while you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm doing so much by going here and there and every, you know what? It's time. Okay, if you go to realrepublicans.net and you live in Jefferson County, you will see a list of openings, the openings of things you could vote on, people you could vote on. Now, it's got the names of the people who are there and who you'd be replacing. Almost in every case, if you have a question, contact me. But and I don't have all the answers, but I have a lot of people that do. But almost in every case, every one of those people is either a lefty, especially on the school boards. They're either a lefty or they're an established Republican. Guarantee you that's how it is. So if you think that you're going to be smarter than everybody else and make fun of people because they're, because I don't like that person, then do something about it. It's really awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Linda went on there and she saw it, and that's what you got. .net. Let me tell you something, what happened with .com. I guarantee you, my big mouth, I went out there and said, we're going to start Real Republicans. And I would love to find out who owns realrepublicans.com. I have a good feeling it's one of the jackasses in Jefferson County. But what they do is they go ahead and they purchase it, and then they want to sell it to somebody else or keep it for somebody else. But you know what? realrepublicans.net. That's what we had to do. But that's okay, because as far as I'm concerned, they can do what they want. These are the games these people play. They want to keep us out of it. But they didn't buy every particular one. And they're going to say, well, people aren't going to go to realrepublicans.net. Guess again. And we're going to come up with a cute way of telling it's net instead of something else. Yes. And we have a ways to go. We have a ways to go on realrepublicans.net. So, that is my beginning. As I said, I've told you already, I am not a website designer. But, I can do some stuff. And, I'll get better at it. That's one reason why I told you I can't do 5 shows a week, because I'm busy trying to get all that stuff going. And if I spend all my time doing shows, then I can't get the other stuff done. So, I'm going to make adjustments on the shows. It's always going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Sometimes maybe Thursday. But I'm even trying to incorporate like a Saturday morning or something like that to give people who work during the week a chance to listen. And then Keith mentioned something about maybe an evening every once in a while. I'll do that too sometimes, but it's really hard. Oh, by the way, Jim has a good point. A person does not have to live in a congressional district to run in a district. I wonder if it's legal to file in every district where the Democrat has no opponent. That's a great point. And let me explain something to you. People go, what do you mean you don't have to live in a district? This is Congress. Maxine Waters doesn't live in her district. Remember Joe Collins? Joe Collins did his commercial. I can play it again easily, but did his commercial saying, hey, this is where Maxine Waters' district is. Now, let me go to someone else's district where Maxine Waters lives. She's living like a queen. The queen bitch. And that's exactly what she's doing. And the people are doing. Now, by the way, I was doing some more reading about that. This is why we all have to get involved. If every person here is truly concerned, you know what? I'll tell you what you do is you get elected, and then we make sure our people who get elected all of a sudden have an elections commission, some kind of deal where we are making sure elections are honest in our own state. We sure as hell aren't going to get that from established Republicans or Democrats. That's why we have to take over, because right now we got a bunch of slime bag politicians, criminals in my book, that need to have their asses kicked out, both ways actually, and put good people in to make our country, to make our Missouri great again, make every state great again. I'm embarrassed. If I lived, and I got friends in Pennsylvania, it's one thing about Facebook I do love. I got friends in Florida, Pennsylvania, every state in the union. I spent 15 minutes yesterday with a gentleman that lives in New York City. He's an electrician. And some of you people are probably his Facebook friend. He was just down. And I told him, I said, don't be down. And this is what's going on. He goes, Dave, I got to tell you. He says, I'm in a city where you can't even live here anymore. There's so many businesses that are gone. And he goes, I'm moving. He's going to move to Boston. Now, some people are, Boston isn't as bad as New York City. De Blasio is a joke. De Blasio is destroying that city. The last good mayor New York City had was Giuliani. That's the last good mayor they had. And ever since then, with Bloomberg and now de Blasio, it's a joke. Hey, by the way, have you seen the picture of Lori Lightfoot? I think it's Lori Lightfoot, right? Of Lori Lightfoot in Chicago? Before and after, before she became a lesbian and after? That is, before, it was, I saw the picture. It was a decent picture. She was okay. But after, when she became a lesbian, my God, she was ugly as sin. She really was. And I don't know, anyway. I just had to bring that up because these people change. These people, these Democrats, the Democrats who, this is what bothers me the most, honestly. The Democrats who say they care about the people are forcing small businesses to close down forever. They are forcing people who work for a living, they're forcing their jobs to go to China. Whenever I bring that up to people, I do bring that up. And I'll say, now, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. Beetlejuice is about right. Recite what? Your granddaughter said she recites a Pledge of Allegiance? That's unusual. I mean, it was really cool yesterday, Charlie, when I played Pledge of Allegiance by Red Skelton. When I look at that stuff, this is my tear-jerking moment. When I look at that stuff, I just wonder why people don't, if you really and truly are a patriot, why does that stuff get you there? I don't know. It really doesn't. Let me see what Jim's got here. I want to see that. Polls had Joe beating Maxine Waters, and she won either through vote ballot fraud or because of the last-minute slamming of her opponent. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's a great idea. Anybody gonna go to the office and look? Let me go to the site here real quick. I want to go to the site. Oh, wrong one here. La 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 la. I gotta be able to spell though. Okay. There is no space in there. Let me get that fixed. And we'll get there. Alrighty. Too many screens and okay, let me do this again. There it is. Okay. I want to go through this quickly just so people know what we're trying to accomplish. You know what? Because people need to see this. Okay, let me just go to my screen here. Let me go to my screen, and if you can't see, we'll get through it here. But I want to show you this because right now these are all these cities in Jefferson County. This just gives you an idea. In Arnold, okay, right here, right, they're mayor. Now, all these, by the way, these letters next to it, these are called nonpartisan elections, so everybody, quote unquote, is an independent. Let me tell you right now, none of these people are independent. I guarantee you, Ron Counts is a Democrat. Jason Fulbright has been running around acting like he's a Republican. He's not even close. I can go on and on. Most of these people, not all, most of these people are Democrats. and they're not doing the city of Arnold any good. Then we have Burns Mill, Cedar Hill, and all this stuff. Now, all these are mayor and councilmen. That's what that is, okay? I think maybe in some words, let me see. They call them aldermen and councilmen either way. Board of trustees, there's different words for them, but basically they have constituents in their area. Now, here's the ones I want everybody to look at real quick. Boards of education. My friends, I'd almost guarantee you every single person in this list that is up for election, every single one of them, now I don't know for sure, but, and if you have a question, we're going to find out from those people there. But it's all says independent. There's no such thing as an independent, really. There really isn't. Almost every single one of these people here are Democrats. Jim Caston here in Dunklin, I know for a fact he's a Democrat. I know for a fact he's a loser. In fact, the guy was kicked out of, he was a teacher at one time. This goes to show you the left. He was kicked out of teaching because he was messing with a student. He was messing with a student, yes. And he's still involved in it. He's now there. This is the kind of crap the left doesn't care about this. But I'm bringing these people up. I don't know most of these people. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. But you've got Crystal City, DeSoto, all these things. Don't get freaked out about it. But this is going, if you have it in your district, which you do, if you send it to me, we will put it on the website. Our whole idea, it's going to be a whole lot better than this. Our whole idea here is to get these people on there and show you. Now, if you notice here, the election date, we got it right here. The election date this is Jefferson County, Missouri, and it should be all counties in Missouri, I believe, is April 6th. But today is the filing date. And by the way, the sooner you get there, you have your name on the top. That's how it works. Whoever gets there first, they get their name on top. And it ends on January 19th. So I'm just showing you this on purpose. That's our time to shine. It's our time to say, we're going to take those schools back. We have a lot of people out here. We can do this. We really can. All right, let me get back to my mug. But anyway, I want people to know that. That's what we can do. But for us to sit back and just let these people run our schools, these are the same people that run our schools down. They're the same ones. Most of these people there are the first ones to go to the voters and say, remember that money we spent last time? We spent it all. If you have politicians, and that's on all different levels, if you have politicians out there and they are happy to spend your money, they're probably not the ones you want. They really aren't in Jefferson County, and I'll get off of Jefferson County a minute here, but this happens in your counties too. Trust me, it does. But if you have these lists, I want you to send this to me. But our health director here, they're getting CARES money, which, by the way, I hope everybody's been calling the governor. Not just, but you call the governor, call your state rep, call your call the people out there who represent you, and tell them, go after these people. We want to stop all these shutdowns. It's killing our businesses. Right. Fire boards, ambulance boards, health boards, 9/11 boards are all important. They are. Jeremy there's on the ambulance board. And you're on the fire board or ambulance board. On one of them, I know that. The health board is the one where we have 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans. And they're the ones that can't wait to have shutdowns. They're the one that's keeping the dictator in place. They're all important. And all you have to do is put your name on there. And I'm telling you right now, the real Republicans are going to do everything we can to help you win. But we're all working this together. This is not an effort just by me. This is, I'm going to tell you right now, you're on ambulance. Okay. I am not here to be your hero. Every person watching this right now is a part of it. We're all going to be heroes. When you see, you know what? It's really cool, though. If you have an election and you get a lot of your people elected, it is the coolest thing because you're saying, yes, we're taking over. We are finally taking our government over. Because otherwise, you could keep your happy asses at home and bitch and moan and play Facebook all day long. But when you start complaining, I will be the first to tell you, I will not feel sorry for you. I want to say, yeah. In fact, I'm going to tell you right up front, you're nothing but a complainer, and you're not doing anything to help us. You're not. And it doesn't mean that everybody can run. I get that. But you know something? When these people run for school board, there's no money in it. There's no money in it. Oh, you'll get a laptop maybe or something like that. But you know something? You are doing it because you are tired of watching your schools being run by liberal nutcases where they don't care about the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't care about history. They don't care about that. You know, what do they care about? This is what's going on in your schools, and don't think it isn't, whether you know about it or not, that there's more than two genders. Yes, we have this gender and that gender and this gender, and the school boards are actually talking about bathrooms being used by most, yes. That's what they're doing. And we just can't do that. You know, I mean, I'm really, so, well, a license is a tax. You know what? A license, you know, I remember, let me tell you what, I'm going to play it. John Stossel has a great one about licensing. And if you haven't seen it, you're missing it because it actually talks about that. And by the way, the reason they get away with all this stuff is because we're sitting on the sidelines playing on Facebook. That's why I get frustrated. You know, and what, you know what people do? It really irritates me because I am the cheerleader. I'm the one that, and I have served. And I'm glad to serve. That's not the point. But I'm trying my best to get the group together, do all this stuff together. Somebody's got to do this job too. But people go, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you do this? You know what? When I don't do this, who takes over? One of my good friends, Paul Kurtman, was a Tea Party leader and was really good at that and getting people riled. But once he got elected, it was a different story. He could only do so much. And I think I think in the long run, I don't know how well it worked for him, but you know, it shut him up, and that's part of the problem. And you know, you can't do this when you're running for office. Oh, you could do it a little bit or something like that, but it's different. But you know, we need people to stand up. Eventually, now there's no state rep positions or anything like that this year. That's next year. But we can start now. And I have to tell you, I mean, I will, like I said, the one thing I will do, and we are going to have people help with this too. And if you're anybody, as time goes on, we are going to have a PAC, and we need your funding. We need you to help. And this is what tell me, because you know when I know people like, well, I can't afford to give $5, and then they go, well, you can't go to a baseball game right now. But, you know, they go to all these expensive things and all that and say, I can't afford that. If your freedom isn't worth something, I really don't have a whole lot to say to you. I really don't. Let me see. John Stossel, business. What is it? License. There you go. License. Because I want to play that. I need to take a break anyway, but I can play that instead. Okay, let me stop this real quick. I'm going to take a break. It's almost time in a minute here. But the reason I'm doing this, because I want you to see this, because just like you said, Larry, it absolutely is a tax. And it takes forever. I don't know if this is the one I'm looking for, but we're going to play it anyway, because Stossel is really good. If you don't know who Stossel is, I like him. He wrote a book, Give Me a Break, because of all the stupid things that's happened. How government got involved. I think Stossel would be so impressed because he's the one that came up with this. I actually read that book. I got a confession, folks. Probably the only book I read from cover to cover in my life. Seriously. Yes, when I was doing book reports in school, if they didn't have a movie about it, I didn't do so well. That's just how it was. But anyway, let me get to this here. Okay, Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take my break here. I want to play this in the meantime. I do think you'll enjoy this, so just hold on, and I'll be back.
You have a license? You better. Government often demands licenses before you're allowed to work. People think this is a good idea. We license drivers. We license dogs. People think it makes us safer. But licensing also does something bad.
If people want to work, let them work.
11-year-old Madison Root was told she could not work because she didn't have a license. She wanted money for braces, so she tried selling mistletoe. Here she is in a tree, picking it. But when she went to sell it at this outdoor market, police told her, "Stop, that's illegal." They told her she could beg, but she can't sell anything. So her father sent us this video.
I was amazed that people cannot work hard, but they can be just lazy.
I assume that's not exactly what the cops meant, but the fact is, all over America, people want to work but can't because it's so hard to get proper licenses.
In the 1950s, well, only about 1 in 20 Americans needed the government's blessing to do their job. Today, that number is more than 1 in 3.
This new book, Bottleneckers, reveals how licensing rules allow older businesses to profit by keeping newcomers out.
These are people who want to erect barriers, who want to put in place bottlenecks because they want to keep competitors out.
It's kind of like what happens on a highway if you close a lane. The established existing businesses are like these motorcycles. Licenses don't slow them down. During my consumer reporter days, I assumed licenses protected us from scams like these.
We are not ripping people off.
But licensing doesn't stop that. Georgia funeral director who was pitching dead bodies out in the woods behind his funeral establishment. He was licensed. Bernie Madoff was licensed. Teachers in public schools who have sex with their students, licensed. Licensing doesn't stop that.
What licensing does do is crush new entrepreneurs. Want to braid people's hair? This woman was told she couldn't do it legally unless she spent thousands of hours to get a cosmetology license. She begged the government, "Just let me braid."
I was making these phone calls to the Board of Cosmetology saying, I don't want to do cosmetology. All I want to do is braid hair.
No, not without our license, said the Cosmetology Board.
These are people who have a clear conflict of interest.
Of course they do. She wants to compete with them.
Cosmetologists got together and they went to the legislature and they lobbied for the creation of a license.
Makes me wonder, how could I get rid of my competition? I'm annoyed by all these TV channels. I'd like to limit that.
Yes, I'm sure. So what you need to do, John, is that you need to go to the government and ask for special protection. You need to claim that there's some public interest, some way that the public is going to be protected by limiting the number of providers.
And that actually happened in America. When I started in TV, most viewers just had ABC, CBS, NBC, and boring public television. People could have had many more channels. Cable TV technology was available. But lobbyists for my employer argued, no, that'll hurt poor people. They need broadcast TV. They can't afford cable. So the FCC limited cable TV for years. And that helped me make more money.
Certainly it does. That's the effect of licensing. That is, the people who are in the industry have the ability to artificially inflate prices and their wages as a result, and consumers are worse off.
I was better off.
You were much better off, but now we realize everyone else was worse off.
That's what the bottleneck does. It limits choices, thereby raising prices and enriching older businesses. There are so many bottlenecks. We'll show you a bunch in the next episodes. We'll also show you how these problems can be better solved by the free market.
Market regulation actually is enough for the vast majority of occupations out there.
Bottleneckers around America. They make life worse for you.
Alrighty, there you go. You can see what I'm talking about there. And that's my whole point. You've got these people out there, and all they want to do is eliminate competition. That's exactly what's going on with these stupid Shutdowns.
Hi,
It's about
Jason
eliminating
Hayes.
competition.
I'm a
That's
former
exactly
CIA
what it is. You know, when they shut down all these restaurants and all that, if you notice, have you heard any complaints at all from the big business ones, you know, the corporate ones? No, they just oblige. Okay, fine. They wait it out because they got money. They got a lot more money than, say, Bartolino's in South County or something like that. Now, Bartolino's has money, but they're spending all this money trying to stay open, and the other one's going, don't worry about it. Oh, in the meantime, though, there are some businesses that are allowed to open. Isn't it interesting how the casinos, you know, you got to shut down your restaurant, you got to shut down your bar, the indoor, but guess what? You don't have to shut down your casino. Now, why would that be? Because there's a hell of a lot more money coming in. That's why. Now, why is that happening? You can complain all you want. The reason it's happening is because you don't have a voice. Because we have been sitting back watching it. And by the way, Dawn, I read all the time. I'm just not a big book reader. My attention span doesn't last for a week on one particular deal. It's just not my thing. So anyway, all right, Jim was involved. Jim actually testified in Missouri. The Missouri Board of Cosmetology told me that they were too concerned about the spread of disease, which only trained people could spot in clients there. Of course, the majority of the people on the board have vested interest in cosmetology training. That is for one reason: to eliminate competition and to make sure, and like I said, and Jim will attest to this, most of the people on the board are doing it to ensure that their business gets the benefits. That's exactly what it is. But, you know, we can complain all we want, but what do we get? We get loser people. We get loser Democrats who love this stuff. And then we get loser Republicans who like mail-in voting, who like all this stuff. They do. Those are our enemies. You know, if you are Republican, stop looking at the letter and say, oh, he's got an R next to his name, or she's got an R. No, that doesn't mean a Republican. The R means one of two things: Rhino or Republican. It doesn't mean Republican. You've got to stop thinking that. And as soon as you do that, that's it. You know, it's funny, Don. Well, I read all the time. I mean, I come in my office and I read all the time. All the time. You know, Linda, thank you for putting it out there. I was on the Jefferson County Central Committee, and they give money to who they want. Now, back in 2014, when my son was running for county clerk, he was the only Republican on the ballot against a Democrat who the establishment Republicans liked. Oh, yes, they were buddies, because the established Republicans are Democrats. Make no mistake about it. And when they were giving money out, I wasn't on the committee then, when they were giving money out, they refused at first to give my son money for his campaign. They gave it to everybody else. They weren't going to give it to my son. That's what they do. There was also a parade. I'll never forget this. You know, if you ever see the parades, there's usually some, you know, political float or something like that. They had it, and they had a Republican float, and it was very normal procedure for people who were running in the Republican primary could go on the float and put their signs on it. And well, they wouldn't be on the float; they put their signs on the float. Two of our people I had a PAC back then. Two of our people were not allowed to put their signs on the float. That's because they weren't establishment Republicans. One of them, I think, is now, and I think Linda knows who I'm talking about. And that's the point. The only way, and this is where you really have to be concerned here. The only way to really get involved anymore, I mean, I tried it for 4 years, couldn't change the things. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I can't change it, it's not going to happen. That's why I said, screw these people. We're going to do something different. They made sure I wasn't in there. That's fine with me. It didn't break my heart. The only way to change it is real Republicans. That's it. Because right now, the establishment rhinos, which is exactly what they are, they're not Republicans. Let's just call them establishment rhinos. I can remember to say that all the time. That's what they are. And there's so many out there. And that's why the laziness, no offense, the laziness of our voters have caused that. And you know, I'm telling you, I really, there's one thing I never do well at. Stupidity and patience. I can be patient in some areas, but when I am talking to people, they go, well, at least they're Republican. I just want to grab them by the throat. I really do. Because if that is as far as you can go, don't get me wrong, in the general election, unfortunately, you have to do that sometimes. I get it. It's strategic. But, you know, because like in the Georgia election, for instance, I'm not a fan of David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler in Georgia. The best ones were not picked, probably because of Dominion voting systems. But that's just the way it was. Whatever happened to the Tea Party, it's a good thing you asked that. You know, I was a Tea Party leader. I know you find it hard to believe. But I was a Tea Party leader when I was living down in Springfield, Missouri. And we had a bunch of Tea Parties. The Tea Party was basically overtaken by the establishment rhinos. And what they did is they had establishment rhinos go in there and act like they were Tea Party people. It happened down in Springfield with Billy Long and a bunch of others. And once there were a few that made it, but most of them were establishment rhinos. And they came in and acted like they were Tea Party people, and they weren't. And to be honest with you, I believe that the Tea Party was screwed over by people who may not have meant it, didn't make a difference, but when they started adding religion, look, when they started adding religion into the Tea Party was about overspending, about spending more than you have. That's what the Tea Party was. And when it got into religion and Israel and the rest of it, it actually divided a lot of Tea Party people, which is what it was intended to do. Maybe not on purpose sometimes. And I honestly attribute the demise of the Tea Party to Glenn Beck a lot. You know, yes, they had a couple things happen, but unfortunately, he made it religious and the whole thing, and that was the whole point. And it's nothing against religion. That wasn't the point. That was not the purpose of the Tea Party. A lot of times what happens, and, you know, like with real Republicans, we have to be careful of this. That's why I really want to have other people there, because this may be my general idea, initial idea, and there's other people who have similar ideas, I'm sure, but this is not me. This is us. It's all of us. If voter fraud is not fixed, how are we going to win anything? We will. We will. Because that's where we do everything we can. And look, I don't believe in violence, but I do believe in intimidation. Now, intimidation doesn't mean you're violent. Trust me, I know how to do it. But intimidation, if you don't intimidate these people, look, let me tell you right now, most of them are a bunch of cowards. Most of them are like Antifa. They're a bunch of cowards. They really are. And if you intimidate them, and there are ways of doing it, I'm not giving my secrets out right now, but there are ways to intimidate these people, and you may not like to hear that, but there are ways of doing it. And you have to really go after them. That's what you have to do. So we can talk about this at other times when we don't have spies watching us, because I guarantee you that's what happens. There are a lot of spies that watch this show. I know it. You know it. Let me see. Did I bring that back up? Oh, let me see here. Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, the phone number is working, by the way, just so people know. I I don't trust how the cameras work. I have 2 cameras here. So when I'm done, I have a piece of paper and I have to put on their phone because I got to make sure I start the phone up. That's just how you do it. So these are my camera covers. Yeah, you just never know when supposedly there's ways people can make your cameras work, and I don't know, but I just got to be careful. You're right. They're big cowards and they're big phonies. And here's the key, my friends. This is where you got to understand. There's not as many of them as there is of us. The only thing is, there's more of them that are involved than us. Why do you think I'm so hard on this? Well, yes, she did. I was, just so you know my history here, it's really funny, Linda. Dana and Bill Hennessy started the Tea Party in St. Louis. It was in February of 2009. I was there. I was living in St. Louis at the time. We had our first Tea Party, and let me tell you something. It was cold. But we got up there, and when we did that, we were there, and we had a bunch of speakers, and one of them, and I'll bring back a little history in case you weren't there. One of them was Ed Martin. Ed Martin. But Ed Martin was doing something that I didn't care for because he was up there. He was up there pushing for Roy Blunt to be a governor. And I'm down there, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. This Tea Party stuff sounds like a great idea, but the last thing I want to hear is Roy Blunt for governor. For senator. Senator. So I was there, and I was yelling back. Can you imagine me yelling back up there? And I said, we need new blood. And he kind of ignored me, and I don't like to be ignored. Were you there, Linda? Well, anyway, if you're there, maybe you remember me doing that, and Ed Martin kind of snubbed me a little bit. I don't like to be snubbed. So I went ahead and yelled again, we need new blood. And he just went on with his speech, and I chased his butt down and told him, we don't need a Roy Blunt there. We need new blood, which everybody in this audience right now would agree with me. See, I was way before my time. So not long after that, I moved to Springfield, Missouri, because I wanted to do radio again. I had done radio before, and I wanted to do radio again. I had a chance to do it. So I moved back to Springfield, Missouri, and I was doing my show, the Super Dave show, and one of the callers called up and asked me if I was going to do a tea party. And without thinking, I said, sure. And I know it's hard for people to believe. A little bit of history about me. There was a time when I used to be afraid of this microphone, scared to death of it. And there was a time when I was absolutely petrified. People don't believe this. I was petrified to get in front of a crowd. To public speak to me, I was afraid I was going to wet my pants. It was really bad. But I forced myself to do both. And as you can tell, I've gotten over those 2 problems. And I, you know what? And it all worked out for a reason, because after I got over my fear of talking in front of crowds, and let me tell you, do I ever? I get maybe, a little bit at first, but once I open my big mouth, and I'm fine. You may think, what am I going to say, whatever, but once I start talking, I don't even think about it anymore. But there was a time I was petrified. And I hear people talk about it all the time, and when I tell them my history, they go, oh, no, that couldn't happen with you. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So anyway, anybody can do this. But, and I actually, since then, I've actually helped people get over their fear of speaking in front of public. I really have. So it's not that hard. It really isn't. There's a lot of things we all can do. I know people think, well, if I get it, I'm going to be with these. It's not a big deal, because what I learned is that people were expecting me. And Linda, I didn't remember you being there because I didn't know you back then either. But anyway, that's what happened. But I'm going to get to Dana Loesch real quick. Dana Loesch started out fine. Her and some of the people started out fine. But Dana Loesch wanted to be a star. And when I was in Springfield, we were both doing our tea parties, and I couldn't get Dana Loesch to return my phone calls. And if anybody knows me, I really get upset with people when they don't return my phone calls. If I take my time to call you, I expect to call back. Oh yes, I expect to call back. I don't like it when people don't call me back. That's just me. But when they don't call me back, I'm telling you right now, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So anyway, try to make sure something here. I called her out and got in trouble from all the St. Louis Tea Party people until she exposed herself, and that's what happened. And by the way, I want to add something else here. This is not to trash Dana because I think she's learned a lot since then. She's younger and she's, okay, fine. But she's learned a lot since then. But she actually was a never Trumper for a while. And I've actually heard some of her followers say, oh, no, she wasn't. Oh, yes, she was. She was not a Trumper. She was a Cruz person. And being a Cruz person, not just a Cruz person, but she used to trash Trump just like Glenn Beck. So when Trump became what they never thought he would be, all of a sudden he changed. So that's my history on the Tea Party. But I did a number of Tea Parties down in Springfield. And that's kind of what we do now is a Tea Party. But people were involved. I got to tell you, when I was, I went to the first one, and Linda, I want to ask you, I want to get to the Dominion voting machines too. When we had the second Tea Party in St. Louis, and this is kind of important, the second Tea Party was in Keener Plaza. And I didn't have anything to do with that Tea Party, but I went there, and I remember they had speakers and stuff, and they actually were having politicians speak. I didn't like that because they said, well, no, the Tea Party's about us. The politicians get all their time to speak. This is about us. And believe it or not, the Tea Party actually adopted what I was saying because when I went down to Springfield, Missouri, the politicians wanted to speak. I said, no, this is our turn. You listen to us. So even when some of these politicians came up they wanted to speak at our Tea Parties, I would go ahead and do their speech for them because we had like 6 or 8 people run for Congress down in Springfield, and it was a Tea Party, and I made their speech, and I told the people, I said, if you really want to know about these people, don't go by what they say up here. It's usually a bunch of nonsense anyway. It's usually a rah-rah thing, and that's it. Take them to the side. And that's what you do. The one reason I brought up Keener Plaza, because I think it was like 6:30 or 7 o'clock, whatever it was. It was warm that day. I remember going through downtown St. Louis and getting off, and we were stuck in traffic. And I remember thinking, is this for the Tea Party people? The attendance was astronomical. It was great. I had tears in my eyes. I was so glad to see people speak up, to stand up for themselves. It was so nice to see. Really, I was like, yes. So that's what I felt when I pulled up. I'm not normal when it comes to this stuff because when I see people, for me, when I just do my show, no big deal. I don't care. But when people tell me they are getting involved, it hits me hard. It really does. Because that's what I want. It doesn't hit, when people say, listen to your, I like what you're doing. That's nice. But I like it when they say, and I want to do what I can to help. When I hear that, it's music to my ears. It's music to my heart. It really is. I was told Sam Page used them. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's get to what Doug was pushing here. It wasn't drugs. The Dominion voting machines. that other countries were involved with, all this stuff, which never should another country be involved with. 64.8% in errors. Yep. 64.8% errors. Can you believe that? Well, that's when Steve Farmer didn't become one of them. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. I mean, come on. I'm telling you right now, it happened in St. Louis City. This was all calculated, orchestrated. If you think for 1 second Sam Page won that election, there is no way. No way. If you think Kim Gardner won that election, there's no way. And to tell you the truth, I'm not saying that Parson didn't win his election, but do I think it was the amounts that was reported? Absolutely not. I don't believe it for a second. I believe all of the established Republicans were involved in this. This is why I have a disgust for them, a disdain for them. And as far as I'm concerned, we've got time to take over. And if you really and truly mean what you say, then you saw the list here in Jefferson County. You should be lining up saying, what can I do? Don't tell me you don't have the time. My son was on here earlier. He's the one that said it's time to file. My son is head of the Pachyderm Club. My son is on the ambulance board. He has 2 children. He's involved with his kids a lot. So, when people tell me, especially retired people have no excuse but to get involved. When I hear retired people say that they don't have time, I really am disgusted with them. I really am. I mean, I don't have time, but I make time because I love my country. Don't tell me you love your country. You don't have time. I really don't care. Oh, I've already given. No. As you may have given in the service, but that time is over, and it's time for you to perform now. There's people that I know who are retired, who are sitting on their butts, and they're watching everything happen, complaining. And I just don't have a lot. I just don't. I can taste the tea in my mouth talking about the Tea Party. Julie, I have to tell you, that was one of the greatest moments of my life doing the Tea Party, because it told me that those of us that care about our country can do something. Now, but I've learned a lot since then. Doug, I believe that Trump underperformed in Missouri. I have no doubt about it. In St. Louis area, I can tell you right now, I would bet you that probably 30 to 40% of the black people voted for Trump. I really do believe that. I believe that probably the same amount of Democrats at least voted for Trump because they didn't want the nutcase Joe Biden. I agree with you 100% on that. There's no way. There's no way. So, when these elections happen, the reason they're happening is because we're sitting on the sidelines going, we got to fix this. Who can I call? I don't like calling anybody. I don't want to call anybody. I want us to controlling it. I've been doing this for quite a while. And I can tell you right now, the only way you can change this is not in the courts. You could see that. Not by calling and complaining all the time. It helps. The real way to only change this is to be one of the people changing it. That's how it's best. And we have so many people out there who can help do it, and they're looking for excuses. Like I said, I grew up, and I can honestly say, if I would have made excuses for not making it, I could be in jail today. I mean, the rest of my family end up in jail, end up in trouble and all that stuff. And if you understood my childhood and the rest of it, now I'm not going to go through that again, but I might be in jail, no telling. But I told myself, and this is why I don't do well, because I've done this my whole life. You know, I owned a business, and then, you know, I was married, and when everything died at the time, I just got off, brushed myself up, and started again, because you can do that. Nikki has breaking news. A visit with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, and an annual event parade in Georgia possibly exposed 50 children to COVID-19. And none of them are going to die, the whole thing. By the way, the agenda for tomorrow's Jefferson County Health Department meeting is going to be coming up. So we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody's dying, but what will they do? See, this is how it works when they're in charge. They have these stupid mask, not mandate here, mask order here. Has no teeth. Sheriff's not going to do anything like that. But they have it. And I really don't think there's one more person that wears a mask. I really don't. Most of the people wear masks anyway. The infection supposedly went down. I think all these numbers are, I want to actually see these numbers. I don't believe anything that's coming out of that office to begin with. It's all for themselves, for their agenda. I believe that. But instead of saying nobody's dying, what are they going to do? They're going to say, it's going down. We need to go ahead and make it more. Because this is about CARES money. Oh. Anybody, I'm sorry, anybody makes their kid do it, it's out of their mind. 99, actually it's more than that. I think it's 99.87 or something. It's just, I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't make a difference. It's so high, it's not even funny. You know what I would love to know? In 6 months, when most of this is over, well, we hope, I wish there was a way that they can go back and then test us, a real test, to see if we had it. And the reason I bring that up is because I believe most, by the way, there is somebody right now, I can tell you right now, her husband has it. She didn't get it. I had a message the other day. This case, I know for a fact, in this case, she said, my husband and two of my children have it. It's no big deal. She goes, we sleep in the same bed. I haven't gotten it. I mean, it's not a big deal. Yeah, 99.98. That's what I thought. I thought it was really high. The recovery rate for kids is just astronomical. But you know what, Julie? If one child, I hate this. If we can save one life, if we can save one child's life, that recovery rate, by the way, we don't even know the ones, just like the older folks, we don't even know if those that percent that's left there, the ones that get it, the ones that do die, we don't even know if those are ones that have problems to begin with either. Do they have underlying conditions? We don't know any of that stuff. They don't even know it. Yeah, I thought it was 99.98 or 7 or something like that. But that's what it is. Well, the government's going to save us, yeah. We can see that. I mean, I'll go back to what I said before. If the government was involved in producing this vaccine, and people got to understand, I don't like the vaccine, anything like that. That's it. But if the government was done it, we wouldn't even be at stage 2 yet. Wouldn't even be close. I mean, that's a fact. Get used to it, and that's it. I mean, if Joe Biden was doing it, he'd go, what's that? Put a mask on, I guess. I don't know. You don't need a vaccine. I mean, it doesn't matter. We'll work on it. We'll get our government scientists to work on it. The government scientists, they go, hey, wait a minute. This is job security, baby. That's what it is. I did want to mention one thing, Linda. This is back when Steve Farmer didn't become what he is now. But Steve Farmer called out, and this is one thing I don't like about Tucker, called out Roy Blunt for calling us a democracy. We are not a democracy, ladies and gentlemen. One of my pet peeves, the fingernails on the chalkboard is calling us a democracy. We are a republic. We are a republic. And never forget that. Because if you think we're a democracy, you're wrong. I don't like that. And I will say, I heard George Bush say this a lot, but I don't know if he has, it's hardly ever been, maybe a slip of the tongue or something like that, but I really don't recall President Trump calling us a democracy. Have you? I mean, if he has, it's really rare. But if you notice, there's a lot of establishment politicians, especially, standing in line, calling us a democracy. PCR shouldn't be cycled beyond 35 and should be cultured immune to. You know what? Those tests are useless. We know that, Doug. Doug knows a little bit about this. PCR shouldn't be recycled beyond 35. You mean, okay, shouldn't be cycled, not recycled. I can't read. No live virus can be cultured. Immune-inducing fragment above 3740. I have no idea what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about... I have no idea what he's talking about. You're talking way beyond me, my friend. Can you speak English, Mr. Poss? That would be nice. Oh, goodness, I'm telling you. Alrighty, I had something else I wanted to mention here while I was at it here. Let me find this real quick here. I did talk a little bit about the forensic. We have talked a little bit about the forensic deal with the voting machines. It's unbelievable. It was systematic, purposeful fraud. Clark County, Nevada, Dominion machines also kicked out about 70% of the votes. It was in the settings. Oregon's new Secretary of State cost hosting birthday party, gathering in defiance of governor's COVID order. Now, wait a minute. That's the guy that's working with the Democrats. The Democrats, or the rhino governor that's there. I mean, this is what happens. That's your secret, huh? You know what my secret is? Breathe heavy. Nice deep breaths. I remember being in gym class when I was younger. Yes, that was a long time ago. And they would say, take some deep breaths. And we do that. They do that. But Julie's is lots of rest and hot bowl of chicken noodle soup. I was just informed from Wendy that a bunch of her family members got COVID. You know how many people made fun? You've seen it back here on the screen with me on the front of the Post-Dispatch. Do you know how many people made fun of me on that? They've been on Facebook saying this son of a bitch and just going after me like no tomorrow. And how many of these people got COVID? They wear their mask. I'm not kidding. They wear the mask all the time. They get COVID. And they're blaming me. I mean, here I am walking around with no mask on. I don't get COVID. If I do, I'm not worried about it, but I haven't gotten COVID. I may get it. I don't really worry about it. But here I am. I'm up there, and they're all getting COVID, and they're making fun of me. In fact, Doug, you're here. This is how I look at it for COVID, just so you know. And I mentioned this before, but Doug's here, and the reason I'm doing this with Doug because he's kind of like my medical guy. All right. You have this mask on. You can't truly breathe out the carbon dioxide. You can't really breathe in the oxygen that I think cleanses your system. But you're breathing in this oxygen. It's being filtered by the poisons that you're trying to breathe out. So here you are for a couple, 3, 4, 5 hours, however long they do it. And they're breathing this poison over and over. I mean, this is common sense, my friends, okay? Now, I am not a proctologist or whatever the hell Doug is. I'm just having fun with you. I know what proctologist is. But that's just common sense. Vitamin D, zinc, and tonic water. Guess what I do? I do that. I do my zinc and tonic water, and that's just it. People have to, you got to take care of yourself. If you have something, you know what it reminds me of? I try to help people with this sometimes. It reminds me of, if it's raining outside, you prepare yourself for the rain. It's the same thing. You prepare yourself for this new virus. And I know people say, I didn't know you do that stuff. Well, you must be living in a cave. I've known this for a while. And you know what? It's funny. I think it is. Yeah. Hey, Doug, I'll tell you what. When you're in politics, we're all a proctologist. Trust me. Oh, yes, because that's usually where their brains are. Anyway, whatever they want to call their brains. I had COVID and also have MS. Just stay engaged in life, be active, eat right, and stay away from the sick people. Didn't we? This is something I find fascinating. If you saw people that were really sick, did any of us go in there and say, hey, give me a big hug, big guy or big gal or whatever, No, you said, hey, keep it to yourself. Get over it, and then we'll hug later. So I love it when people tell me, well, if someone is sick, you need to stay away from them. Fine, I get it. Somebody asked me if I'd walk in a COVID ward. I'd walk in there. I really would. Am I going to go in and give big hugs? No. That would be stupid, but I'm not worried about it. They're laying in bed. I'm walking through and say, hey, I hope you get better. That's it. But am I really worried about it? I'm really not. And I don't know many people as stupid as I am that would do that, but I would do it, and honestly, it wouldn't bother me at all. It would not bother me at all. So, yep, if you trust the government, you obviously failed history class. George Carlin. Yeah, I put those behind me in case you get tired of looking at my face sometimes. I'll have some new ones up there. I will say, the one thing's no handshakes, even they tell you. You know what, though? I'll tell you what. I don't go to the gym right now. They're making me wear a mask just to go through the door. I may just do what I did at the bar, hold it until I got through the front door. I never really put it on. But they had two little containers of pens, and I would always grab the ones that the people used already. Diaper increases. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That would be masks for you people that don't know what we're talking about here. But when you have it on there, Doug, look, this is, I've made it this far through common sense. How I've made it this far, I don't know. But honestly, and when I think about that, all I can think of is like, okay, when you breathe out, the toxins in your body try to get out of there. They do. And when you got a mask in your face, they can't get out. Like a filter. You're actually filtering the toxins. And by the way, the COVID toxins don't stay in there anyway, but you're filtering toxins, whatever. And point is that you keep sucking that garbage, because as soon as you try to breathe, it goes back in. It's right there. It's like, hey, let's do this again. And I just don't think to me, it just never sounded like a smart thing. So, and that, that's how I looked at it, because it's like, well, that doesn't sound right to me. If we were meant to wear masks, God would have put them on us. They would say, hey, but while you're over there and trying to eat the apple, pull the apple down before you try to eat it, but have this mask on first. No, that's, it's not normal. If things aren't normal, don't do it. That's how I look at it. Exactly. Like a vacuum bag that's full. And you know what? I'm going to do something else here too. I know some people don't like my analogy about this. I've always been a water drinker. And I can tell you right now, when I drink less water, which isn't very often, but I go through my spells and I had to drink my water day, it's usually when I feel worse. Water to me, water and fresh air to me is the best thing you could do for your health. It really is. Eating right too, of course. But when if I feel a little cold, I jump in the shower. I don't sit there and do all that stuff. I jump in a shower, nice hot shower, get out. I feel great. No more cold. You should try it. It works. I've actually shared it with people, and I go, wow, look, this isn't something this is something I learned on my own. I mean, I actually, and I think part of it has to do with how I grew up, but I learned how to do a lot of stuff on my own. I'm just telling you what I learned. That's all. I want to bring you back in the day. This is how observant I was of what I was doing. And I'm not bragging about this. Shows you how my goofball brain works. Every once in a while, when we were younger, I don't know if they do it anymore. I don't think they do it. They would have the air raid go off every once in a while. So I never ask anybody, but I hear the air raid go off, and I knew because we grew up after World War II, and we were always afraid Russia's going to bomb us, and we had, for you people who are younger, you don't know about this, but that's how it worked. So anyway, that's how it worked. So when I would look at the clock, it was 11 o'clock. I was living in St. Louis, 11 o'clock. I was like, wow, it's 11 o'clock. That air raid goes off at 11 o'clock. Every time it goes off, it's 11 o'clock. And then after a couple more months, it was like, it's always on a Monday. And I figured, wow, it's on a Monday. And that's when I finally, after about a year, I guess it was, I finally figured out that it was the first Monday of the month at 11 o'clock. And that's when they did the air raids. And I that was just me being observant. I daydreamed a lot in school or something like that. I don't know. So anyway, that's how I learned. But I didn't mean to bore you with that. I'm sure I did, but that's what you do. When I go to the post office, I touch every part of the large door handle in front of all the maskers. You know what, Keith? That's because we're not afraid. And the reason my immune system, I think, is so damn good is because I don't run around as a germaphobe. Oh, my God. You ever hear anybody, oh, no, don't touch this. Don't touch it. It's like, bring it on. I don't care. I don't sit there and I'm not a germaphobe. The germaphobes drive me crazy. There was a judge in Jefferson County. I'm not going to mention his name. There's a judge in Jefferson County who, when this all started, had a mask on, a shield on, gloves on, and long sleeve on. He was scared to death. A judge. Yes, a judge. This is a person making decisions on our lives. And by the way, I do want to talk about judges. And this has nothing to do with that. When you see what the judges have done in so many states where the judges actually hear clear and convincing evidence, and they look at you like Bill Barr did and say, I don't see anything here. We have a problem. I want that judge's head. When you have a judge that is purposely ignoring, they're supposed, I really don't care if somebody's a Democrat or a Republican judge. I really don't. Unless they're an activist judge. But when you put that robe on, you look at the law and you look at the evidence, I want you, and is there anybody out there disagrees with me? I want you to look at the law and look at the evidence and say, we have something here, or don't. And you be honest, and if you're not, forget it. I don't use hand sanitizer either. I don't use any of this stuff. In fact, I don't like it. When I was on the ship last, was it earlier this year? I don't know. Last year, I guess it was. Yeah, last year. When we were on a ship, we were on a cruise. they hand out the hand sanitizer. That was before COVID. I didn't do it. I don't like it. Actually, I don't think it's good for anyway. I know a retired St. Louis judge that's as shady and as dumb as a bot. They're all over the place, Sherry. Oh, my God. Yes. But you know how they get there? Through politicians, through politics. Let me put it the way it is. Through politics. Through politicians who want to make sure that they cover their asses when they need their help. Oh, yes. That's exactly what it is. That, to me, you know what, though? I'll go back to what I've said every show. We can fix that, ladies and gentlemen. We fix that by being involved. We fix that by running for things. And I hope people go to realrepublicans.net. 2 things I'd like people to do. If you're in Jefferson County, look at that list and don't go at it and say, I can't do that. Look at it and say, you know what? I'm putting my name on there. I'm putting my name on there. Now, I would suggest we don't beat each other up. So if you do it, if you're first there, then make sure who you are. I mean, we're trying to make this to where we don't have 5 of our people on it. I'm glad to see everybody on it. I don't see that happening, by the way. We have 5 of our people there. We'd like to make sure we only have the 2 that we need to beat them. That's what we want. We want real Republicans there. We don't need these losers on the left or the phonies on the left, on the right, supposedly right. So, that's up to us. We can change that. But if the other thing is, if you're from Perry County, whatever, Keith, if you have that available, send it to me, and I'll be glad to put it on the website. Because we want every county, I want every county in the world, well, in the United States, to send me what it is. Because I want everybody involved. I want everybody to say, that's where you go. That's where you find out. Because I'll tell you what, if you go on, this is, people will say, well, you can go on the county websites to see this. It's not easy. Hell no, it's not easy. If you notice on here, I don't have any more here. I changed it. But if you notice on there, it says that what date the election is. It tells you what dates you can start. You can start going filing, and what day you got to do it by. You can't find that stuff half the places. They'll say, yeah, you can. What you look at a lot of places, go, yeah, you can file for election. This is where you do it. We want to make it as informative as possible. We want everybody to know where to go, even Republicans. Yes. Back to my dirty little secret. Establishment Republicans, which is Rhino progressive Republicans, absolutely do not want you to know. Always remember that. They don't want you to know. And you better get that in your head every single day of your life. They don't want you to know. And that should, I don't know about you, that pisses me off. It really does. Because it should be. Now, right now, since we are real Republicans and we have to compete against phony Republicans, we are doing our best to make sure that we don't have 5 people, if nothing else, we can have our own little deal. I don't know, whatever. But the point is, we don't want to put more people on the ballot and then have the phony Republicans win because we had 5 people on the ballot and they had 2. We don't want that. We don't want to split the vote. And I'm not saying we're going to pick out who it is, but if we're all adults, we can talk about it. By the way, that would be a great place to be. I don't see it happening. But you would make me the happiest person on the planet. I couldn't do my show hardly without smiling the whole show, which I don't know if I could do that or not. It hurts myself. But I would smile from ear to ear the whole show saying, my God, you people are doing it. The greatest feeling I told you I get is when people get involved. And if you get involved, I'm telling you. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people watching this show right now. We'd be smiling ear to ear. We'd be giving you high fives. Because to me, you're the next heroes. You're the ones that are going out there saying, I'm going to do this. And go in there with us standing behind you. That's what you do.
But if you just, don't just do it and say, I did it and it's it. No, do it because you want to make a difference. Yeah, I know for a fact a lot of people watching this show right now want to make a difference. And that's what we need. I'm tired of reading these headlines, about how they show this politician or this judge or whatever, all the corruption in the voting system, and the politicians like the governor of Georgia, the Secretary of State who's in charge of elections, saying, I don't see a thing. Our own Attorney General. I was so disappointed in Bill Barr. And by the way, I guess if you haven't heard, he's leaving the administration. Somebody's taken over. We'll see. I would tell you, you know what? I'm going to get some good news. On January 6th, when this all changes, and all the people are going to be devastated on the left and established Republicans when Trump pulls this out, which he will, all of a sudden, you're going to have mayhem hit. But you are going to see the beginning of the end of the deep state. Because I have a strong feeling that Mr. Trump is going to have some payback that criminals never saw before. I would love to see Hunter Biden go to jail. I would love to see Joe Biden tried for treason, selling our country out to the Ukraine, selling our country out to the Chinese. All the people that sold our country out to the Chinese should go to jail. It should be treason. I would like to see, by the way, the word is out, and I figured it would probably happen. There's timing involved here. I would like to see, supposedly he's going to pardon, I can't think of his name offhand. WikiLeaks. Oh my God. I just tipped my tongue. The other one's Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, in case you don't know, is a gentleman who worked for the NSA. I'll get it in a second here, but I'm sure somebody's going to tell me anyway. But Edward Snowden is the one that ratted on the NSA for doing what they were doing. I'm getting all kinds of these. Perry County, Missouri. Okay. Hey, send me something though, Perry. Can you send me all the different? Send me all that stuff. If that's all you have, that's fine. I'll put it on there for Assange. Thank you. I knew what it was. Thank you. I knew. Jason, sometimes you do this show, you just can't remember every syllable. It's silly. I know. Let me see. Christmas Day. I tried Chrome. Okay. All right. No, Connie, it was my fault. I'm looking at the text I got earlier. But no, if Julian Assange, that's right. But Julian Assange has been a world of good because he's done the things it took to expose what the left was doing. Of course, you have to understand, if you expose the left, then you are lying. If you expose the left in any situation, then you have something going on. You're that's it. But in reality, we know that the left, and I'm including Rhino Republicans, they are the guilty ones. They are the treasonous people. You know what? I'm more pissed off at George W. Bush right now than ever. Is there a person here right now that has 1 ounce of respect for that jackass? I really don't. Look, I'll be honest with you. I won't get into it today, but I have had questions about 9/11 for a long time. And I'm not going to go into it. And I know people are, it happened. They're trying to tell me Oswald, that Lee Harvey Oswald did it all on his own. I don't buy any garbage. I absolutely believe that there are certain people behind the scenes that do what they have to do. The Chinese will will rat on these criminals. Well, here's the problem, I think, Cherry. She says Chinese will rat on these criminals. They have no allegiance to anyone except to China. But if they think in the future that these criminals can help them, they're not going to do it. Yeah, Bush is a globalist, no doubt about it. They were all globalists, except for Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan wasn't a globalist, but you can go back. Every president before Reagan was a globalist. And I remember, I got stories about so many people when Donald Trump was walking down that escalator and they're saying, he's a globalist, he's this, he's that. And I said, no, he isn't. And of course, I was stupid. But I can't tell you how many of those people have come back and said, Dave, you were right. I was wrong. Do you know how much I love to hear that sometimes? Because of all the abuse I take when I stand up. Now, on January 6th, I have told you, I am telling you right now, I'm putting all my bets on the fact, in fact, I'll bet somebody. Jim, you said 1,000 to 1? Let's bet $1. No. I'm betting that on January 6th, the tide is going to turn, that Donald Trump is going to, they're going to count the elector votes because all of a sudden, those elector votes are going to be the ones that were going for Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump will be president on January 20th. I think it's 20th, yeah. And I think that's going to happen. Now, I haven't, last year I went, I made plans because I knew it was over. I didn't make plans, and I should have, because I really believe it. Now, you can always cancel that. Maybe I should anyway. But I'll tell you one thing. On January 7th, can you think of all the Democrats right now that have made plans to go to Washington, D.C.? So, actually, it may work out because on January 7th, I'm going to check the hotels out and see what's available because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot available because a lot of people are going to be saying that. Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people will be saying, well, that's bullshit, but, let's cancel the plans. And they're not going to show up for the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. It's not going to happen. Yes, I want to see him cry, but yesterday I had to calm people down because they're freaking out about the electors. And they didn't realize that there's 2 sets of electors for these states. Of course, the media didn't tell you that. Well, it's all over now. And they're going, yeah, it's over. And people are like, well, but on Newsmax, well, don't go by the news. I mean, even Newsmax, they don't know everything. They're people like us. They don't have any, they may have some inside tracks, but they don't know who they're talking to at some point. But I'm telling you right now, calm down. January 6th is coming up, and we'll all be going, yay, we won. That's what I'm saying. So let me see. Let me see what date January 6th is. What day is January 6th? Let me find out real quick. I don't even know. January 6th is on a Wednesday. So I may not do my show in the morning. I may have to do it as we're doing that. I don't know. I'll do both 2 shows. How's that? A Biden inauguration would have 10 people sitting in circles. You're right. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Biden inauguration, they have all the seats, while the Trump people would be having, they would be super spreaders. There you go. They're super spreading. Hardly any of these people are wearing masks. Yes. Well, but, there's different ways to look at that, Jason. A Biden inauguration would be that. But if they had a riot at the same time, I don't know what they can tear. Well, they'll tear up anything. They don't care. Oh, they can knock down some statues they don't like, maybe. They can have a riot. And when they have a riot, COVID doesn't show. COVID is scared death of a riot. COVID does like to go to Trump rallies, though. COVID just says, oh, baby, Trump rally. We got some victims there, baby. That's what they do. But when it's a Trump rally, I mean, that's what they do. But when it's a Antifa or BLM riot, nowhere to be found. Yep, Kelly Vollmer be there. You're right. With her stupid mask on. I know where Kelly Vollmer won't be in 2022 once we get a hold of the. Yeah, this is why we got to do it, folks. I'm going to say this one more time. I'm getting to the end of the show. I'm going to say this one more time. The reason we have problems in Pennsylvania, and the other ones is because they have elected either Democrats or rhinos. That's why we are having problems. They have allowed Dominion to go in there and take over. They have allowed all this stuff to happen. So because of our lack of being involved, that's what happens. That's right. Jason, I liked it. The science says during riots, COVID is not contagious. Yeah, it's really interesting because their science is very interesting. It really is. The science of the left is really interesting, isn't it? The science of the left is whatever we tell you. By the way, has anybody, I haven't seen this, maybe somebody else has anybody ever seen any real facts of the people that wear masks religiously that get COVID and the ones that don't? I haven't seen it. And how hard it was on those people that wore masks and not. The only thing I have is my unscientific mask, and I still get I'm not answering you. Yeah, they're trying to do it. I have no desire. Never mind. I can't talk about that. No desire. Anyway, the people I'm involved with, that was just a very interesting phone call. It's a business call. Actually, I'll tell you what it is. I had a job, and whenever I do lighting, okay, that's my other job besides this. And in the middle of the job, they changed the rules. And because I had up front, I said, I don't wear a mask. I can't wear a mask. I'm not going to. And in the middle of the job, they changed it. And they said, well, this is our facility. And even though most of the people in our facility aren't wearing a mask, you have to wear one. And that's when I packed up and left. And I said, I'm out of here. And I don't care if they pay the bill. And I really don't give a damn. But they needed me for something. And I'm not going to get into that right now. But they want me for something. But I really don't care. So they've been trying to contact me to get me to do it, and I just said, you can kiss my ass. You changed what everything's happening until you apologize, until you take care of what you got to take care of. I'm not going to do a damn thing, and that's exactly where I am. Because you know what, friends? I don't care if it's about money or anything. I stick to my guns. I have integrity. I am never, ever going to be forced to do something I refuse to do. I'm a stubborn jackass when it comes to that. If I feel it's going to attack my integrity, it's going to show that I don't have integrity, it's not going to happen. Well, we do have a cult. Divided we fall. Now, what's that? That's somewhere else. Trump put a red hand on the swamp. Let me see. This is somewhere else. Parler picked up where Cambridge anti-maskers are low functioning. Oh, we have an idiot there. Now this is on D Live, which is all right because I figure there's gonna be idiots there. So I'm gonna address this. You guys can't see this. This is where anti-maskers are low functioning and sociopath. A lot of them. It's against the law to knowingly infect someone with a virus. Then don't wear the mask. Hey, divided we fall. I'm going to give this to you, and then I'm going to kick your ass out of here, okay? I want to kick your ass out of here because you're an idiot. But let me tell you right now, the people I know that didn't wear a mask either didn't get COVID or the very, very few, sparse, they got through the COVID with no problem. The people that wore a mask, different issues. Many, many more of them. A much higher percentage of them got COVID. Okay? And they are the ones that had the problem. So, you know something? I'm going to figure out how to get rid of these people. Block user. I don't know where they are. Block user. Me on YouTube. Is that where they are? Block user on YouTube. Yeah, let's just do this. I don't need that. I'm done with them. anyway, I don't like idiots. I've always had a problem with idiots. So, that's part of the problem we got here. But anyway, all right, folks, we are about out of time here. Like I said, I'll do a show tomorrow, and then I'm still working on doing one in the evening for some, and I just, it's really difficult for what my schedule is, and I have a business I have to run and stuff, and so it's just really difficult. So please accept my apology, but I appreciate everybody watches the show and listens. I really do. So no mask, no COVID. See, that's what happens. But you know what? I get tired of these idiots. They can do what they want. I really don't care. Doesn't matter to me. So, all righty, friends. Too pesky, stress hormones, immunity tanks. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Well, that's okay. Hey, look. Thank you so much for listening. Let me get prepared to get out of here. We will, I'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I have a much better start. I apologize for the start here. I know what I have to do without fail before every show. One by one, I got to make sure I get everything in line so I do it right. I don't have anybody else here that knows how to do anything, so that's why I do it. So, all right, my friends, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you tomorrow.
You can't quit. And why not? I get fired. You can't fire him. Why not? He quit.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Thanks. I needed that.